Based on the conditions and the history of this area, we are going to be here for a while.
You just have to kind of roll with what happens, you know. We all have to adapt. So that's just the way that life is.
It was like a movie. We were watching the fire just roar, and you're just hearing this massive force of the elements come in.
We are adapting in real time. The news starts right now. Good afternoon, and thanks for being with us for this special 4 p.m. edition of NBC Bay Area News. I'm Raj Mathai.
And I'm Janelle Wang. We are on early because of all the new information and evacuation orders across the Bay Area. We also have Jessica Aguirre with us.
Raj and Janelle, progress tonight in the LNU fire. So much progress that some evacuation orders are being lifted, but now comes the hard part for homeowners who have to go back to see what, if anything, is left. The painful process ahead. I'll have that for you coming up.
Okay, thanks so much, Jessica. Well, signs of progress with all the fires. Containment on these massive fires is inching upward slowly. Overnight, the fog and cooler temps helped firefighters battling the CZU complex fire. They made some progress. This fire is burning along the coast in Santa Cruz and San Mateo counties. Nearly 79,000 acres have burned so far. Now, while this fire continues to grow, so does containment. At this hour, it stands at 17%. Now, as you know, the CZU is one of 3 major complex fires burning in the Bay Area. Take a look at where the other 2 are, the LNU complex in the North Bay and the SCU complex fire burning in the South Bay and East Bay.
Janelle, a little more details here. Let's get you inside the numbers. The SCU complex fire, it's now the largest, and it's raging across 5 separate counties, including Santa Clara County, Contra Costa County, and Alameda County. The numbers here, 363,000 acres, 15% containment, 20,000 homes threatened. It's there even in towards east of Morgan Hill now. In the North Bay now, the LNU is the most destructive fire. 2 separate parts of the LNU fire. In the western part of Sonoma County, Healdsburg, that area in Guerneville, and then over across to Napa and Sonoma counties, Napa and Solano counties, 352,000 acres, 27% contained. That's some good news there. Sadly, though, 5 people have died. And then returning to the CZU fire, that's along the coast down here, San Mateo County coast, Santa Cruz County there. The numbers coming in, 78,000 acres burned, 17% contained, and 1 death. Janelle.
Raj, for days, hundreds of families in the Santa Cruz Mountains have been left wondering whether their homes are still standing or if they are among the hundreds destroyed by the fire. Today, we help one family find out. NBC Bay Area's Marianne Favreau joins us live from Scotts Valley with their story. Marianne.
Janelle, an evacuated homeowner reached out to us specifically after he saw news reports showing fire burning in his Brookdale neighborhood. And today he asked if we could go and check and see if his home was still standing. And fortunately, we were able to help him out.
All right. On the right, on this side.
Flames ripped through Clear Creek Road above the Brookdale Lodge Saturday, leveling almost everything in its path.
You just couldn't see it.
When James Hagan saw this video on TV, he knew the fire was close to his home.
That's the worst part about of this whole thing, is not knowing what's happening with your property.
So he asked us to check on his home, and today we did. What we found were several homes in his neighborhood that had burned down to their chimneys. And James, too, had lost his home.
20 years of my time that I spent building my house and property into what it was, and just remembering how beautiful it was.
The fire destroyed his son's car and every inch of the hillside home. Hagan says they left with just a few items.
Computers, because they have pictures on them and stuff like that, and got my money and the cats and a couple little heirlooms.
Hagan says he remembers the 58 steps he climbed every day to reach his front door and the graduation party he hosted for his daughter here. But as he mourns the loss of his house, he is also grateful for what he didn't lose.
The cats are out and everybody's alive, and that's what really matters. That's the important thing.
And he's relieved to finally have answers.
I'm fortunate right now that you were able to let us know, because I bet there's thousands of people right now wondering what happened to their house.
Fortunately, James says he has insurance and he says he does plan to rebuild. This is not the first time that his family has been displaced. About 7 years ago, a huge tree crashed into their living room and they had to move out for 6 months. Reporting live in Scotts Valley, Marianne Favreau, NBC Bay Area News.
Marianne, thank you. There is some encouraging news in the North Bay. Some evacuation warnings have been called off, and some people are being allowed back into their homes. Jessica Aguirre continues our coverage. Great news now, Jess, for so many people who have just been living in limbo recently.
Yeah, it could be great news, Raj, but it could also be very difficult news. Here comes the hard part for homeowners going back into that fire zone to try to figure out if they have anything left standing. Now, progress is being made in the LNU fire. It is slow going, but they are improving. So much so that now some of those evacuation orders are being lifted and people are being allowed to go back home. Now, here are the latest facts about the fire. This is a huge fire. More than 350,000 acres burned. Containment, though, is finally ramping up, 27% today. And probably the best news of all, as we've been saying, parts of the fire are more contained than others. And that allowing the process of more people getting back to their homes slowly underway. However, firefighters say the moment of truth is here and the pain begins now.
It's important for everyone to realize that this is a time when some people will realize they no longer have homes, that they are going to be experiencing considerable losses. So it is always important, and we urge you to look out for your neighbors, care for your neighbors, and be patient with one another as we go through this process of repopulating areas and getting back in for reentry.
A lot of compassion is going to be needed now. National Guard troops are scheduled to arrive by the end of the week to help fight the fire. Now, get the scope of this. 3 million gallons of retardant have been dropped in that area in the LNU complex fire since it started last week. The fire is not over, so there are still difficult times ahead. Now, coming up at 5, I'm going to talk to a winery owner, a vintner, who has a small vineyard in Napa Valley, and this is not the first time he's gone on a go-around with fire. What he's learned, what he lost, and what he thinks is going to happen next, what his plans of the future are next. We're going to take you there.
We will see it ahead at 5 o'clock. Thanks, Jessica.
We want to turn now to our air quality. Not really good today. This is a live look at Walnut Creek. You can see a lot of smoke and hazy skies. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Jeff Ranieri. And Jeff, I went to bed last night in the green zone. Like I opened my windows, and this morning I was like, it turned smoky on the peninsula. And usually it's better there. It was pretty bad today.
Well, it really all has to do with the fire activity. Are they seeing flare-ups, and did the foggy breeze die down for a little bit? We still had some improvements for a few spots today, but it really is going to be this touch-and-go situation until we get full containment of these fires. So as we start off right now with a look at the conditions on the fire lines, we have seen some slightly cooler temperatures today. Wind gusts also not that strong, only 10 to 20 miles per hour. So up here into the North Bay, you can see currently 91 degrees. Tomorrow 91, wind gusts of 20. Down here to the South Bay, we have 87 tomorrow on the SCU Lightning Complex and wind gusts of 10 to 20. And then over to the fire here in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Great news here today, as there has been no large fire growth in the past 12 hours. So they are getting some sort of headway on this. And tomorrow we're looking at 84 degrees, winds on average out of the northwest at 7, gusts up to 20. So what about the air quality? Let's take you to that right now. We've got the live sky camera here in San Francisco, and you can see blue sky here with also some fog way back towards the distance. And then take a look at those air quality numbers, and you'll see in San Francisco we're at 60, which is moderate. Oakland 80, Palo Alto 150, and Mill Valley at 30. So there is some good to moderate air quality, but you got to get close to the bay and the coast to find that. We'll talk more about the air quality for tomorrow and where it will be best. I'll have another update in about 15 minutes.
We will see you shortly. Thanks, Jeff. I just got a text alert about 15 minutes ago. The evacuation warning has been lifted in the Palo Alto Hills. These warnings and orders are changing by the hour. Let's bring in Chris Kimura with an update now. I look at my phone, and every time ping, there's something there. Every day there's something going on.
I can map it for you right now. This time yesterday we had red evacuation orders and a swath of yellow evacuation warnings up here. The waypoints on this map, Los Altos here, Cupertino, Saratoga, Los Gatos, Scotts Valley. But that yellow is now gone. Now I can remove real quick here the evacuation areas and show you a 24-hour satellite sensor of the fires, and look at what we have. Concentrated small areas of the fires. What a change this is from 1, 2, and 3 days ago when we saw these orange and yellow dots all over the place. The other major developments today are up to the north. Let's go to the county of Sonoma, and here we have a massive area that has just been reduced away from evacuation warnings to allowing people to go home. I mapped it out here, and it tells me that's 231 square miles roughly where we're now in the clear. People should still pay attention, but nonetheless, on the base map here from the county, it's green. Again, we have the thermal sensors here in red showing us where the fire is in the LNU Lightning Complex fire, and you can see the concentrations to the north and to the south. This southerly line here isn't quite as dotted in red as we had seen previously, and perhaps that's what's given firefighters the confidence to allow people in this region here closer to the Pacific, but then down to the south near Santa Rosa, up near Healdsburg along Dry Creek Road to return to their homes. However, we do still have the evacuation warning in place up here to the north, as well as these evacuation orders for the region in red. If you want to keep up to date on the evacuation orders in real time, we invite you to visit our website, nbcbayarea.com/evacuations.